Hey, I'm Liam, and before we get into anything today, I want you to do something for me. I want you to think about the last time you felt like the system was actually working in your favor as a farmer. Take a moment, because for a lot of the farmers I talk to, that moment is hard to remember. Rising costs, unpredictable weather, markets that don't make sense anymore, and a government system so complicated that most farmers just give up trying to access it. Well, today I want to change that, because there is real money, government money, sitting in a program called EQIP that was specifically created for farmers like you. And my honest guess is that most of you watching this right now have never seen a single dollar of it. Not because you don't qualify, not because your farm isn't good enough, but simply because nobody ever explained it to you properly. And that ends today. Let me give you a number that stopped me in my tracks when I first saw it. 3 out of every 4 American farms, 75%, received zero government payments last year. Zero. In a year when input costs hit record highs, in a year when commodity prices were at their lowest in years, in a year when farmer bankruptcies were up nearly 60%, and the whole time there was money available. Real programs, real funding, just sitting there. I kept asking myself, how is this possible? And the more I dug into it, the more frustrated I got. Because the answer isn't complicated. Most farmers don't apply, not because they're not hardworking, not because they don't deserve it, but because these programs are buried under layers of government language that feels like it was designed specifically to keep you out. Big operations with lawyers and consultants on payroll, they know how to navigate this system. They've been getting this money for years. But the small family farmer working from before sunrise to after sunset, nobody's sitting them down and explaining it. That is exactly why I built this channel. And that is exactly what we are going to fix together, starting right now. So let's talk about EQIP. The full name is the Environmental Quality Incentives Program. I know. Even the name sounds intimidating. Forget the name. Let me tell you what it actually means in real life on your farm. Every single year, the USDA sets aside a significant portion of its budget, specifically to help farmers make practical improvements to their land. And I want to be specific about what improvements means here, because this isn't vague government talk. We are talking about better irrigation systems so you stop losing water and money every season, cover crops that rebuild your soil so you spend less on fertilizer next year, fencing for your livestock, drainage improvements, pest management systems, energy efficiency upgrades. These are real things that make your farm more profitable, and EQIP helps pay for them. Now here is where I need you to really pay attention. The average farmer who gets approved for an EQIP contract walks away with around $30,000. Not a loan, not something you pay back with interest in 5 years. The government is literally covering up to 75% of your project costs and handing you the difference. But it gets better. And this part, honestly, made me angry that more people don't know about it. If you have been farming for less than 10 years, what the USDA calls a beginning farmer, they will cover up to 90% of your costs. 90%. And not only that, they will give you 50% of that money up front before you even start the project, so you are not draining your savings to get started. Think about what that means. A beginning farmer with a $20,000 irrigation project could get $18,000 back. And half of that, $9,000, lands in your account before you buy a single piece of equipment. I want you to sit with that number for a moment, because that is not a small thing. That is the kind of money that changes the trajectory of a farm. So now the real question, why aren't more farmers getting this? And look, I've thought about this a lot. This is just my honest opinion, but I believe the system, whether intentionally or not, is built in a way that rewards people who already know how to work it. Big agricultural operations have teams of people whose entire job is finding and applying for these programs. They have relationships at the local USDA office. They know the language. They know the deadlines. They know exactly how to make their application score as high as possible. The small farmer? He's up at 5 a.m. feeding livestock, making decisions all day, coming home exhausted, and the last thing he has energy for is reading 40 pages of federal program guidelines. I understand that. I genuinely do, and it's not fair. But here is what I also know. The money is real, the program is real, and it is accessible if someone just walks you through it step by step. So that's what I'm going to do right now. 3 steps That is all it takes to get started. Write these down if you need to. Step 1. Find your local USDA Service Center. Right now, after this video, open your phone and type USDA Service Center near me into Google. There is one within driving distance of almost every farm in America. Call them or walk in and tell them you want to learn about applying for EQIP. That's it, those words. They have staff there whose only job is to help farmers like you apply for these programs. You are not bothering them. You are literally the reason they exist. Step 2. Get your farm records set up with the Farm Service Agency, which most people just call the FSA. This is separate from NRCS, which runs EQIP. But here's the thing, your EQIP application cannot even be considered without an active FSA farm number on file. A lot of farmers get to the end of the application process and find out their records aren't current, and they lose their spot in that year's funding cycle. Don't let that be you. If you have never set up an FSA farm number, it is free. It takes one visit and it is the foundation for accessing almost every government farm program that exists. Step 3. Apply early and apply seriously. Each state sets its own deadline for batching EQIP applications, and most of those windows fall between November and February. Miss that window and you are waiting another full year. And when you do apply, understand that applications are ranked. The ones that show the clearest environmental benefit to your land score higher. When you sit down with your local NRCS conservationist, ask them specifically what your county's priority resource concerns are, because applications that address those priorities move to the top of the list. That one piece of knowledge alone can be the difference between getting funded and getting passed over. Now I want to be straight with you the way I always will be on this channel. EQIP is competitive. There are years where it is 3 times oversubscribed, meaning 3 times more farmers apply than there is money to fund. So applying does not guarantee you get it. But I want you to hear this clearly. The farmers who are consistently getting this money are not smarter than you. They are not better farmers than you. They just know the system, and now so do you. And think about it from a numbers perspective. If most farmers aren't applying, and we already know that 3/4 of farms received nothing last year, then the pool of people you're actually competing with is smaller than it looks. Your odds are better than you think, especially if you take the time to do it right. I also want to mention something that a lot of people gloss over. If you qualify as a historically underserved farmer, and that includes women farmers, veteran farmers, and farmers from certain ethnic and racial backgrounds, you are eligible for the same 90% cost share rate as beginning farmers, plus the advance payment option. And the USDA actually sets aside a specific portion of EQIP funds exclusively for historically underserved producers. I bring that up because if you fall into one of those categories and you didn't know about it, you have been leaving money on the table that was specifically earmarked for you. Go find it. Look, I want to be honest with you about the bigger picture here because I think you deserve that. Farming in America right now is one of the hardest things a person can choose to do. Input costs are up, commodity prices are down, the trade situation is unstable, and the farm bill that's supposed to provide a safety net for all of this has been delayed for years, leaving farmers without the certainty they need to plan ahead. I'm not going to stand here and tell you that one government program fixes all of that. It doesn't. But I refuse to accept that hardworking farmers should be struggling while money that was literally set aside for them goes untouched year after year. That bothers me deeply, and it's the whole reason this channel exists. My job, the reason I show up here every week, is to be the person who sits down with you and says, here is what's available, here is how it works, here is exactly what you need to do. No fluff, no jargon, just straight information that you can actually use. So here is your one action for this week. Not 10 things. Just one. Find your local USDA service center. Get the phone number. Write it down. Put it somewhere you'll see it. That one phone call could start a process that puts tens of thousands of dollars back into your farm. And it costs you nothing but a few minutes of your time. Do not let another season go by leaving money on the table that belongs to you. I'm Liam. And every single week on this channel, we are going to break down one thing that helps you run your farm smarter. The money side, the business side, the government programs, the strategies that the big operations already know, but nobody is explaining to the small farmer. That changes here. If this helped you today, do me a favor and share it with one farmer you know, because I promise you, There is somebody in your circle who needed to hear exactly this, and they just haven't found this channel yet. Take care of your farm. Take care of yourself. I'll see you in the next one.